18th of April, 2025 is exactly the 45 years since Zimbabwe was freed from settlers' administration. Is there anything worth celebrating after 45 years Zimbabwe got its independence, or there is every reason for citizens to cry foul? A retrospect of Zimbabwe 45 years is typical citation of civilization in reverse mode. All colonial gains were not just reversed but plundered. 45 years ago, Harare was Sunshine City of Africa. Many would find it difficult to believe that Harare was a city in Africa. 45 years ago, all cities had uninterrupted treated tap water supply. 45 years ago, citizens living in cities did not know anything about boreholes. 45 years ago, Bulawayo's Belmont Industries had advanced industrial infrastructure in Africa second only to South Africa. 45 years ago, citizens in cities did not have any idea of sewage sites. 45 years ago, Zimbabwe's public health system was the best in Africa and compared to those in Europe and USA. 45 years ago, Zimbabwe had functional rural hospitals established by missionaries with readily available ambulance services ferrying the sick for free. 45 years ago, Zimbabwe had efficient rural council clinics. 45 years ago, all cities had uninterrupted treated piped clean water supply. 45 years ago, there was no electricity load shedding. 45 years ago, all suburbs and townships had street lights, not tower lights. 45 years ago, Zimbabwe had a well-established formal sector. 45 years ago, Zimbabwe had the most organized time-tabled urban commuter transport system in Africa. 45 years ago, commuters would pay and for a bus before it even arrives, knowing very well that the bus would arrive and depart at a particular time on schedule. 45 years ago, there were no combis for public transport or musfikasvika. 45 years ago, National Railways of Zimbabwe was providing daily train service between Harare, Bulawayo and also Harare Mutere. 45 years ago, Zimbabwe had an efficient rural transport system dominated by enterprising black businessmen. Remember Madambanadzo, Nganadzesh, Nyamweda, BNC, Modern, Mshesh, Verakina and many others. 45 years ago, Zimbabwe had organized private taxis operated by very disciplined staff. Remember Rixi, A1 and Creamline. 45 years ago, Air Zimbabwe was a medium-sized national airline with a fleet of 16 commercial planes, all flying every day servicing international, regional and local routes which included Buffalo Range with efficiency. 45 years ago, Cold Storage Commission was supplying the whole country with quality affordable beef. 45 years ago, Dairy Marketing Board would supply the whole country with fresh milk. 45 years ago, Grain Marketing Board was supplying the whole country with maize, rice, flour and wheat. 45 years ago, Zimbabwe had an efficient pension systems which provided retiring citizens with deserving comfort upon reaching retirement age. 45 years ago, Zimbabwe had an enterprising manufacturing sector which comprised of a vibrant textile industry. 45 years ago, teachers were role models for everyone. 45 years ago, doctors and nurses had dignity and were respected by everyone. 45 years ago, education was a surety to a successful profession and a stable life. 45 years ago, everyone was assured of a well-paying job after school. 45 years ago, there was no inflation. 45 years ago, Zimbabwe had a stable and trusted currency which was stronger than the greenback with exchange rate of $1 Zimbabwean dollar trading at $2. 45 years ago, everyone from all corners of the world wanted to come to Zimbabwe. 45 years ago, there were no fuel queues. 45 years ago, there were no bank queues. 45 years ago, everyone would eat bread for breakfast and everyone would afford beef. 45 years ago, the state paid for tertiary education, be it nursing, teaching, apprenticeships, polytechnic or university. 45 years ago, there were no state-sponsored abductions and disappearings. 45 years ago, there were plenty of jobs in the cities. Actually the industries were not just understaffed but had surplus of vacancies. Everyone would be employed any time, it was just a matter of knocking on the company gate. 45 years ago, the army was not brutalizing citizens. 45 years ago, police respected citizens. 45 years ago, Zimbabwean roads had no potholes. 45 years ago, there was no gold mafia, there was no billionaire club, no Mbinga club, no tenderpreneurship, no hyperinflation, no multiple farm ownership, no currency manipulation. 45 years ago was 1980, the year ZANU-PF took over control of a disciplined, orderly, functional and prosperous Rhodesia with an enterprising growing economy and international goodwill. ZANU-PF gangsters plundered everything and chaotic Zimbabwe and tainted damaged international goodwill is what ZANU-PF established. Great Zimbabwe is an ancient city of the Shona Kingdom. The name Great Zimbabwe is a symbol of greatness and empirical evidence of civilization trends in Africa during the Stone Age. The name Zimbabwe simply means a stone house, and this is how Great Zimbabwe got its name. An engineering wonder of excellent artistry work, the stone structure Great Zimbabwe became a national monument, hence the country Zimbabwe derived its name from it. Created and constructed by Africans but still standing centuries later, Great Zimbabwe Monument is evidence of advanced African culture during between the 11th and 15th centuries. It is indeed a testimony of the African ancient life. The impressive stone work is another citation of advanced civilization in Africa during Stone Age. Over the years, the might Great Zimbabwe city has been referred to as Zimbabwe Ruins. This naming is not by accident but depicts the actual state of the structure. The term ruins refer to remains of a civilization's architecture. These are formerly intact structures that have fallen into a state of partial or total disrepair over time due to a variety of factors such as environmental, wars, weather and general scavenging. Though still standing, the mighty Great Zimbabwe city structure is no longer the same but also ruined. From the same perspective Great Zimbabwe became a ruined city, it is the same context ZANU-PF has ruined the country, condemning not just a city but the whole country into a Zimbabwe ruins. ZANU-PF ruined the economy. ZANU-PF ruined livelihoods. ZANU-PF ruined formal sector. ZANU-PF ruined industries. ZANU-PF ruined companies. ZANU-PF ruined public health care. ZANU ruined hospitals. ZANU-PF ruined Zimbabwe currency. ZANU-PF ruined banks. ZANU-PF ruined savings. ZANU-PF ruined pensions. ZANU-PF ruined citizens. ZANU-PF ruined citizens' conscience. ZANU-PF ruined generations. ZANU-PF ruined the youth. ZANU-PF ruined the future. ZANU-PF ruined trust. ZANU-PF ruined confidence. ZANU-PF ruined international goodwill. ZANU-PF ruined cities. ZANU-PF ruined the country. Though Mugabe's led club dug foundational trenches of corruption, Dambuzo's unprecedented level of dishonest and greediness induced the whole of Zimbabwe into a crime scene. A dystopian nation and a zombie society is Dambuzo's gangsters' vision for 2030. A wholesale Zimbabwe ruins. Precisely Vision 2030, Vision ruins.